I mean, we have people living up to 100 years old. You get to define your it over and over and over and over again. When I was in high school, go for it meant graduate from high school. When I was in college, go for it meant getting a degree. When I was getting divorced, go for it meant freeing myself from somebody that I did not want to be in a relationship with anymore. So your it is whatever you want it to be. Do not let someone define your if. Why are you doing that? Well, why are you doing that? Why are you learning Duolingo? Well, why are you taking a painting class? Well, why would you do that? That's the you too old, you too young, you too stupid, you too dumb. Why you do not let unaccountable people stop you from going for it. If you think there's anything that you stopped doing, trace it back. Was it your own personal decision to say this isn't for me anymore, like I did with acting or comedy? I did it. I'm good. I got the check mark and I don't want to do this anymore. That's totally different to say I had that experience and now I'm moving on to something else, but I still went for it. Or is it somebody telling you that you can't do it? So you said, well, they said I can't do it, so now I'm not going to go for it. If people in society said, people in the world said you can't do it, so then you don't do it. When I was going for my DTM, and Kay Collins told me 18 months is too fast. You're not going to be able to get it done in 18 months. Okay, I'm going to go for it. Let's see. Let's find out. What's the fastest someone has done it? I think they told me 2 years. Average is 4 to 7 years to become a distinguished Toastmaster. I did it in 18 months. Got it. Bada boom, bada bing. So you need to go for it. If you were looking for a sign, this is it. If you were saying, I just need a moment. I just need to, if you're waiting for the right time, the only time you have is now. There is never going to be a right time. There is always going to be a reason to not go for it. You can find an excuse to not go for it. You know, well, it's supposed to be 72 today and it's only 71 degrees, so it's not warm enough. That's not the difference between it being 32 degrees and 31 degrees, that's freezing, or 111 degrees and 211 degrees and 212 degrees for boiling water. That's not the same thing. So if you are not going for it, number one thing, check your fear. Check your fear. Go ahead, have a conversation with the amygdala. What's going on? Why am I not going for it? And then check your skill sets, because you could actually have the skill sets and the fear is paralyzing you, making you think you don't have the doggone skill set. This reminds me of, I think it was the 2020 election, and I was going to put a video make a video about voting strategies. I am never going to tell you who to vote for. That's your personal choice. But I was having the conversation with my daughter, and I said, should I be making a video about my voting process? And she had to remind me that I got a degree in public law and government. I'm like, if I can't make a video about voting, the voting process that I use in strategy, who can? I totally forgot that I had the degree. So I'm letting fear stop me from something that I'm qualified to actually do. And I was like, oh, I totally forgot that's what that degree was in. Okay, here we go. And now it's a 60-second strategy that says, here's the voting strategy that I use. And it's basically telling people, hire the best candidate, because that's what you're doing. You're hiring somebody for an open position. So select the person that you believe will fill that position to the best of the position's ability. And if that person already had the job and they didn't do a good job, then they don't get rehired. That's simply what the video says. But here I am letting fear stop me from doing something that I already knew how to do. So check your fear and then check your skill sets. And then you will be able to say, okay, I'm ready to go for it. Because you first have to make the decision. No planning, no strategizing or nothing. Because if you don't believe in yourself, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, you're not going to go for it. I don't care how you can have a whole cheering section behind you. Blah, blah, sis, boom, blah. But if you don't believe it and you don't attack that fear, it's not going to happen. You will find an excuse. You will set your own self up for failure. You will sabotage whatever it is that you're doing because of a fear of success. And people talk about, unaccountable people always talk about the fear of failure. But people, I personally believe, and I haven't done the research on it yet, I believe that people have more of a fear of success than a fear of failure. Because if you succeed, and I've said this before, you got to keep succeeding. And people believe that you got to keep succeeding and keep succeeding and keep succeeding. And so that's more pressure than failing. You feel like, yeah, you did. Well, we didn't think you was going to do it anyway. So now you just, and if every now and then something goes all right, then that's easier to do. But if you have one success or 3 successes or 5, and then you fail, now you look like a failure to the unaccountable people. But the people who hold themselves personally accountable just know failure is just part of the process on becoming your best. So it's, you know what not to do now. When what doesn't work, use that and create a better strategy, or just the strategy that you're using. So check your fear and then check your skill set. Do I have what I need? And believe in